This is Barry Zalma, speaking for Claim School Incorporated's blog, Zalma on Insurance. Today we're going to speak about what happens when you believe your building is falling down and you expect coverage under a policy that covers you for collapse. Now, Windcrest Owners Association sued Allstate Insurance Company after the company declined a claim for property damage to a building in its condominium development. Allstate moved for summary judgment, alleging that the property damage was not covered as a collapse and was excluded from coverage because it resulted from faulty construction and maintenance. The trial court granted summary judgment dismissing Windcrest's claims. In Windcrest Owners Association versus Allstate, a December 12, 2022 decision of the Court of Appeal of Washington, Windcrest sought payment to repair a building in severe distress as a result of wear, tear, and defective construction under a collapse coverage. The Court of Appeal read the full policy and applied its language to the facts presented by construction experts when reviewing the decision of the trial court. Windcrest Condominiums, which consists of 15 units in 2 buildings, was completed in 1995. Allstate provided commercial property insurance coverage from November of 2002 through 2017. In October of 2018, Windcrest notified Allstate of a property damage claim based on a structural report prepared by Dibble Engineers. The report noted decay consistent with substantial impairment of structural integrity to one of the buildings. Specifically, it noted, quote, "The capacity of the building's lateral and gravity force resisting systems are compromised by decay that has been hidden by the exterior siding." Allstate, conducting a good faith investigation of the claim, retained construction consultants Madsen, Kneppers and Associates, MKA, to conduct an inspection and evaluation of causation of the damage at Windcrest. MKA concluded that there were sites of noted decay of structural components, but no evidence of collapse, quote, "defined as an abrupt falling down or caving in," close quote, as required for coverage under the Allstate policy. Windcrest sued Allstate alleging breach of contract and bad faith. Allstate moved for summary judgment. The trial court granted the motion and dismissed the claims with prejudice. The Court of Appeal, analyzing the coverage and the facts, stated that determining whether coverage exists in an insurance claim is a 2-step process. 1. The insured must show that loss falls within the scope of the policy's insured losses. And 2. The coverage to be avoided, the insurer must then show the loss is excluded by specific policy language. The insured has the burden of proving that coverage is triggered, while the insurer has the burden of proving that an exclusion applies. Windcrest made a claim under the Allstate insurance policy, which provided an additional coverage called collapse that applies only to an abrupt collapse as described and limited. The Allstate policy specifically defines collapse as follows, quote, "With respect to buildings, a collapse means an abrupt falling down or caving in of a building or any part of a building, with the result that the building or part of a building cannot be occupied for its intended purpose. B. A building or any part of a building that is in danger of falling down or caving in is not considered to be in a state of collapse," close quote. In addition to the lack of suddenness or any falling down, Windcrest failed to provide evidence that the building or parts of the building fell down, fell to pieces, or caved in. Rather, it still stood and was occupied. In addition, the MKA study noted that there was damage to the buildings and that there is no evidence to indicate that any parts of the building are currently in a state of collapse as defined as an abrupt falling down or caving in. Indeed, a Windcrest resident and board member confirmed that no part of the building had caved in or abruptly fallen down. Windcrest produced no evidence that the structures were no longer habitable. A Windcrest resident and board member confirmed that Dibble never informed the board that the buildings were unsafe or unfit to occupy. The Court of Appeal concluded that the Windcrest buildings had not collapsed such that they can no longer be occupied for their intended purpose, and in addition, the Court of Appeal noted that Windcrest had not demonstrated a collapse as defined by the Allstate policy, and that therefore the collapse coverage did not apply. The evidence from both Allstate and Windcrest demonstrated that defective construction and maintenance initiated the chain of causation resulting in the loss. Allstate submitted both a report and deposition testimony from expert David Vanderstein to support a coverage exclusion due to defective construction. The report stated conclusively that decay and deterioration occurred over an extended number of years due to defective original construction in combination with lack of repairs and or maintenance, in addition to a lack of collapse. Since the evidence showed no abrupt or sudden falling down of any part of a building such that it could not be occupied for its intended purpose, so the policy coverage for collapse could not apply. Based on the evidence before the trial court, the damage to the condominium originated with faulty construction and maintenance. The Allstate policy explicitly excluded coverage for faulty construction and maintenance as well as for any loss initiated by those excluded perils. Therefore, the Court of Appeal concluded that the trial court properly granted summary judgment for Allstate and dismissed Windcrest's claims. In my opinion, Allstate provided coverage to those insureds whose property actually falls down, collapses as defined. However, it provided a clear and unambiguous definition of the word collapse. Although Windcrest experts used a technical definition of collapse or about to collapse that fit engineering practices, it did not even come close to fitting the definition of collapse in the Allstate policy. And once a contract is written and accepted by an insured, the wording cannot be changed by a court to provide the coverage the insured would like, and must apply the coverage written in the policy, regardless of the desires of the insured, who may or may not be in need of indemnity from an insurer. It simply didn't buy a policy that provided that coverage. This video was adapted from my blog, Zalma on Insurance, which is free to anyone who clicks on the URL zalma.com/blog. You can also subscribe to the blog post and will receive email notification of each blog postings, usually at least 5 a week, Monday through Friday, sometimes more. You can also subscribe to this video either on rumble.com or youtube.com, and I'd appreciate it if you would click on the like button or the rumble button as you view the video. If you found this blog posting and video to be of interest and useful to you, please tell your friends and colleagues so that they can also subscribe. And view the videos and or read the blog postings. Thank you for your attention.